welcome to the home of Jimmy Fallon. Well, we're not actually in his home. We're at the beautiful Socrates Legion Field in Socrates, New York. That's where we are. The Jamestown Jammers set to take on the Socrates Stallions as part 2 of the 2017 season gets underway. It was set to get underway last night, and it did not because of the weather. We were set to play the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs, but Mother Nature had different ideas. I don't know if you saw the flooding in the Utica area, but that was the case here in the eastern part of the state. So a lot of rain everywhere. Only 2 games were played last night. Jamestown Jammers coming into tonight's game, the leaders in the PGCBL West with a mark of 20-5. We've won 6 in a row, 9-1 in our last 10. Socrates Stallions come in with a mark of 13-9, 3.5 back of the Amsterdam Mohawks for the lead in the PGCBL East. Socrates Stallions on a roll. They've won 3 in a row. They're 6-4 in their last 10. We're going to meet tonight's starting pitcher, Bradley Griggs, and we'll also talk to Anthony Barone as the pregame show continues after this on the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network.
Net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Pennswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Pennswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Pennswood.net Classifieds has it. Pennswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Brad Griggs player profile. Brad, it's good to have you back in Jamestown.
It's good to be back.
How
see
did
a lot of new faces?
Yeah, it's great to see you guys come back, and the UTSA connection has been a really good one here. And it was great. We're here, by the way, and we're recording these at different times. And we're right after a big win that you just got against Newark. One of the best pitching performances that I've seen you. You just dominated this game. And, tip of the cap to you for that job.
Thank you very much.
With that in mind, last year, let's go back at 2016. You were an integral part of the team then. And I know when Anthony and I talked in the pregame show, we mentioned the fact that for the last, for all the time you've been here, you never missed a start. Every time it was your turn in the rotation, you were there. And that's impressed him. And talk about how that's impressed the folks back at UTSA.
I did come off a decent summer last summer, or whenever I was in the moment. I guess it was a good summer, but now looking back at it, I really want to do better. I want to always be getting better, but I didn't pitch but 3 innings this year, so it's kind of a letdown. But I guess just motivation as to how good I want to do this summer, just prove myself.
Yeah, well, maybe that time off has helped you, get off to the kind of start you've had.
My arm feels great, so I can't complain about any injuries so far.
Yeah.
So that's
absolutely. What's your biggest memory of last year? I mean, we had an interesting end of the season. We had a nice run to the finish. We got to Utica, and other guys that we've talked to I've said I think that rain was the difference in that game. I think maybe we win.
I think we did too. Before the rain, I thought we had momentum, and then it just kind of carried everything away. People got not really unfocused, just didn't really think about the game, so that could be a problem.
Yeah.
As to why we fell short.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Yeah, I was one of the strangest situations. We won't get into that too much. It is what it is, and so that's where our season ended last year.
Right.
But
there were, one game, and I don't know if you remember this one, and I don't know why it sticks in my mind, but it was a game you pitched in Oneonta. And you had a little bit of trouble in the early innings, and then you just started dominating Oneonta. It was like from the third inning on, they couldn't touch you. Talk about what changes when you're in that kind of a situation where you have a rough beginning to a game and then you just kind of steamroll your way.
Right. Ever since I started pitching, one of the beginning innings of a game has always been the toughest inning. So once I get out of that, it's just like I just kind of get comfortable and just know like the strike zone, know what to expect, know how my body feels, and just compete, really.
What's it like there's got to be a comfort level with you having Conley back behind the plate again. Now, you didn't today in today's start, but I'm sure you're going to be, you'll be throwing the crest a number of times before we're done here. What's it like to know that guy behind the plate?
Coming off of last summer, I know that he works hard. He's one of the hardest working catchers that I've ever seen behind the plate, and I love him back there because he'll get you calls. He's just always working.
And welcome back as we get set for the start of tonight's game. I can see things are ahead of schedule, so we'll have to jump ahead of schedule too. If you want to catch the entire Brad Griggs player profile, check it out at YouTube. We will be back with the head coach, Anthony Barone. As a matter of fact, let's go to Anthony right now on the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network.
The head coach of the Jamestown Jammers, Anthony Barone, getting ready to take on the team that started our season, now starting the second half of our season, thanks to Mother Nature last night raining us out at Mohawk Valley. We'll be taking on the Socrates Stallions, but first, let's take a look back at a very important and impressive win, 6-3 over the Red Wings on Thursday.
Yeah, it was a great win. Anytime, you got the team right behind you coming to your home ballpark, it's pretty much imperative you win that game, and our guys did what they had to do, and good win against Geneva, who we had some problems with this year, so good to get in the win column.
We did a lot of scoring early, but then the bullpen and the pitching staff was able to hold on and preserve that lead. We did give up 3 runs, let them cut it in half, but still, at the end, it was our pitching that ended up stopping them.
Yeah, once again, we got a big inning early, and then our pitching held up. Anytime you give up 3 runs in a 9-inning game, you got a really good chance of winning. So Blessing did a wonderful job, Mesa, and then Hunt. 3 really good jobs by our guys there, and, move on to the next one now.
All right, coming into the game, of course, the team now with a 4-game lead over Geneva. They didn't play last night either. Leading the league in hitting, now also in pitching, and we're third in team fielding, is where I think the rest of the league's coming back to us in that case.
Yeah, it's we've been sort of talking about those 3 phases of the game all year, and offensively, pitching, and they've been up there all year, and our defense now is starting to hopefully make a push here in the second half of the season to be one of the better defensive teams in the league.
Oh, certainly you got some combinations that you've worked out there that have been able to provide you with that, be it Standahar. I think Ryan Markey's done fine when he's been in for you. Alex O'Donnell he's had a couple of bad games, but by and large, you take his body of work, and he's, especially early on, he made some outstanding plays at short.
Yeah, defensively we're fine on the infield. I'd like to get a little more production out of our infielders, some of them offensively, but defensively we've been fine. We've been playing really solid. Estrada's been good at third. O'Donnell's made some really good plays at short. In our second base situation with Burnick, Markey, Standahar, Markey sort of played all 3 infield positions. So all those guys done a good job, and Brookover's been pretty good at first.
One of the things that I'll bring up, this will be our last thing before we talk about Socrates, and that is the importance of having a guy in center field like Skylar Valentine. He is the most amazing, and I'm including a lot of major league guys. I have never seen a man cover as much ground and doesn't look like he's struggling at all. He just kind of glides to where the ball is.
He's been, he's really, from last year to this year, made he was good last year, don't get me wrong, but this year he's really been unreal. I mean, the amount of territory he's covering. And that, in large, all three of our outfielders, we've really upgraded defensively from last year. They're helping. Yeah. Yeah, Skylar's just done a really good job. So, but you know, and pitchers are letting them make plays. You know, they're throwing strikes and they're pitching to our strength. So. He's been really good this year, very good.
All right, we'll come back and talk about this important game against the East, another one you want to steal when you're playing the other guys. Of course, we're in the West. We'll talk about Saugerties right after this on the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network.
And we would have been able to listen to Anthony Barone's talk about the Saugerties Stallions, but it's 6:58 now, and it looks like we're within about 30 seconds of starting, so we won't have time to hear that. So let's get to the business of tonight's baseball game. By the way, apologies to the YouTube viewers. I have finally found a place where Verizon signal stinks, and you will experience dropped frames on our YouTube stream tonight, and there may be cutouts in the audio stream as well. And it's a good thing I cut in there because Chris Conley is already at the plate at 6:58 p.m. for a 7:05 start. Give it the lineup for the Jammers. Leading off, it is the DH tonight, number 17, Chris Conley, batting second. Third baseman, number 16, Chris Estrada. Ben Brookover hits third. He plays first base and wears number 30. Cleanup batter, center fielder, number 2, Skylar Valentine. First pitch to Conley's on the inside corner. Strike one called. Hitting fifth, right fielder, number 9, Colin Stack. Batting sixth, second baseman, number 29, Jimmy Standohar. Batting seventh, left fielder, number 7, Christian Deaton. And Conley pops this one up, and it will be out of play, so it's an 0-2 count for tonight's starter, John Clayton, fresh off the set of Fox and Friends on the weekends. No, it's not that John Clayton. It's a different one. But anyway, John Clayton on the hill. No balls and 2 strikes. Chris Conley awaiting the 0-2 pitch. Misses a bit high and outside in the count now 1-2. Finishing out the lineup for us, batting eighth, catcher number 22, Connor Rulin. Batting ninth, the shortstop number 1, Alex O'Donnell. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Chris Conley. Clayton taking a long time and delivers that one inside and low. Ball 2, and the count now evens at 2-2. Around the outfield for the Saugerties Stallions, starting in left, Jeff Palczewski, Nick Campano in center, Matt Feinstein in right. Give you the infielders in a sec. The 2-2 pitch. Conley hits one high in the air towards center field, moving over Campano, and he makes the catch for out number 1. That'll bring up third baseman Chris Estrada. Batting second in tonight's lineup. Tyler Kelder is down at third. Luke Pedersen at short. Pat LaGrabanese is at second base. Jack Gonzalez down at first. Austin Powell behind the plate. John Clayton ready to bring the first pitch in this at-bat to Chris Estrada, and it is on the outside corner. Strike one called. Estrada coming into the game, hitting .306, his 25th game and 25th start. 0-1 pitch on its way. That one catches the outside corner. And there may have been a question in Chris Estrada's mind about the height of that one, but it's called strike 2, and the count is quickly 0-2 on the right-handed hitting third baseman, Chris Estrada. Ben Brookover is on deck, and the 0-2 pitch lofted toward right field. Going back, and making an over-the-head catch is Matt Feinstein in right. That one had some carry on it, hit more on a line drive than anything else, and Feinstein eventually able to catch up with it. 2 up, 2 down for the Jammers in their half of the first. Ben Brookover steps up. Ben, the first baseman, coming into the game hitting .324, his 26th game, 25th start. 33 for 102. He is the leading at-bats category guy with those 102, and the first pitch. Well, there's a lot of low strikes getting called tonight. Be on your toes, boys. No balls and a strike. 2 out and nobody aboard for the Jammers. We're in the top half of the first here at Saugerties. 0-1 the count. John Clayton with the 0-1 pitch. That one's on the outside corner, and strike 2 called. No balls and 2 strikes. This is the way the The starter, Clayton, has been able to go, and the Jammers, Ben Brookover, steps out. I don't think that would interfere, that is, with any of Clayton's routine at this point. The 0-2 pitch on its way. Brookover watches that one go way outside, and now the count is 1-2. Skylar Valentine is on deck should Ben keep the inning going. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. 2 out, nobody aboard. Top of the first, no score. Clayton on the hill. Takes his time getting the sign from his catcher, Austin Powell, and he misses low that time, and the count is now even at 2-2. Nice crowd on hand for tonight's game. Despite the threat of inclement weather, a lot of dark clouds around, but nothing coming out of them, thankfully, especially in this area after yesterday. 2-2 count with 2 out. The pitch to Ben is fouled off over the, it caught the home plate grandstand netting and then bounced over and off the roof of the dugout of the Jammers. Count remains even at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody aboard and 2 out. Brad Griggs getting the start for the Jammers tonight. That's why we had him on the player profile here in the pre-game show. Ben Brookover reaches out, stays alive, fouls one back into the netting of the home plate grandstand. Count still even at 2 on Ben. Ben Brookover from San Antonio, Texas, so of course he is playing in his own backyard when he's at UTSA. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Clayton takes his time again. There'll be a sharp contrast in pitching styles between the two because Brad Griggs, over the course of time, has learned that his best choice is to be fast-paced in his approach to the game. Clayton taking his time here. It's a full count on Brookover. And Clayton's payoff pitch. Lofted high in the air toward right field, giving chase over toward the line. What a catch in right field by Matt Feinstein to retire the side. No runs across for the Jammers, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. The score at the end of 1/2, Jammers nothing, Saugerties coming to bat. We'll have that for you next here on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Women now make up 37% of the workforce, changing their role forever.
Harvard Medical School has now opened its doors to new female applicants.
The first woman is now in space.
The majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart disease and stroke than men, even though it can be prevented. Make a change at GoRedForWomen.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
Back with Anthony Barone, head coach of the Jamestown Jammers, getting ready to take on the Saugerties.
We didn't get to talk to Anthony because 7:05 equates to 6:58 in Saugerties time. Just thought I'd let you know. That's why we did not get to Anthony's second half and his talk about these Saugerties Stallions. So let's meet the starting lineup for the Stallions in tonight's game. Leading off for them, it'll be the center fielder, number 14, Nick Campana. Batting second, the shortstop, number 3, Luke Pedersen. Hitting third, the right fielder. A couple of nice plays by Mark Feinstein in right. Hitting fourth, first baseman, number 24, Jack Gonzalez. The number 5 hitter is the DH, number 26, Nicholas Teeter. Hitting sixth, third baseman, number 20, Tyler Kelder. Hitting seventh, second baseman, number 5, Patrick LaGravenese. Batting eighth, it is the catcher, number 7, Austin Powell, and batting ninth and playing left field, it's number 8, Jeff Palczewski. Around the field for the Jamestown Jammers, it is Christian Deaton out in left, Skylar Valentine in center, Colin Stack in right. Brad Griggs' first pitch misses outside to the right-handed hitting Campana, and that is ball 1. Around the infield, Chris Estrada at third, Alex O'Donnell at short. And that one's fouled off by Campana. And the count is now even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Second baseman tonight, Jimmy Standahar. Ben Brookover is down at first. And behind the plate, it's Connor Rule. as another foul back off the bat of Campana, and the count 1-2. Brad Griggs has that pace up here early on in the ball game. And the 1-2 pitch on its way. High, ball 2, and the count is even at 2-2 on Nick Campana. Jammers play this one here tonight in Saugerties and then go to Oneonta to take on the Outlaws tomorrow night. Line drive in the hole between first and second and into right field. It's a leadoff single for Nick Campana. That'll bring up the shortstop, Luke Pedersen. Pedersen at the plate, hitting .308 on the season. This is 13th game. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the home stats. My apologies. Well, as you can tell, he hits pretty good at home, for that matter. Pedersen's hitting .295 overall. His 20th game and 20th start. And the first pitch by Griggs to him misses for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Once again, apologies to the YouTube viewers. We have a really crappy Verizon wireless signal here, so you're going to experience drop frames tonight. Runner goes down, throw down. Alex O'Donnell cannot get the ball. It squirts into center field. Valentine picks it up, thought about throwing to Estrada. He hangs on to it. Nick Campana steals second and then moves up to third on the throw down. So you have Campana at third, Pedersen at the plate. The count's even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bradley Griggs ready with a 1-1. Outside low, and the count now at 2-1. Luke Pedersen, the left-handed hitter, for the Jammers. Brad Griggs coming into tonight's game with a 2.55 ERA. That pitch is low, and it's 3-1 now. 3 balls and 1 strike. Brad has served strictly as a starter. His record's 1-1. This is his 5th game and 5th start. 24 2/3 innings pitched thus far. 3-1 pitch on the inside corner to the left-handed hitting Pedersen, and the count's full now at 3-2. And now the infield comes in. You got the corner players in Estrada at third and Brookover even with the bag, and then they start to approach the grass as the pitch comes in, which is fouled off by Pedersen, and the count remains full at 3-2. Error charge, by the way, to Connor Rule on the throw down to second. 3-2 pitch outside, ball 4. Runners at the corners for the Stallions with nobody out in the bottom of the first, and the right fielder Matt Feinstein steps up. Feinstein coming into the game hitting .338, his 21st game and 21st start. 23 for 68 at the plate, and he's tied for the lead on the Stallions roster with 22 runs scored. He's hit 6 doubles, by the way, too. Feinstein takes the first pitch. That's right in there, strike 1. No balls, 1 strike. Runner down to first, Pedersen. He just walked. Campana's at third. He had a single, stole second, and then advanced on an error. Here goes another runner going down. They haven't picked off, and now the throw to the plate, and scoring is Nick Campana. Alex O'Donnell took a look at where Campana was and felt that it was a good try to send it home, and it did not pay off. And, of course, moving up to second base then is Pedersen. Saugerties 1, Jammers nothing. No balls and 1 strike, the count on Matt Feinstein. Outside corner, strike 2 called. Feinstein with a 0-2 count calls time. That's a pretty good trick most of the time with Briggs to get a timeout in there as quickly as he normally works. But he gets it in, steps back in. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. One gone in the Stallions' half of the first, and first baseman Jack Gonzalez steps up. Jack Gonzalez stepping to the plate, hitting .288 on the season, his 23rd game, 23rd start for the Stallions in 2017. Gonzalez is at home, is hitting .319. One out, runner at second, first pitch is low. Connor Rule tried to pull that up in the strike zone. The ump wasn't buying what he was selling. The count is 1 ball and no strikes. One out. Pedersen with a modest lead off the bag and now is headed for third. Here's a throw down by Rule, and it was on the foul side of the third base bag, juggled a bit by Chris Estrada, and Pedersen steals third now. So Saugerties playing small ball, not unlike what the Jammers do. 1-1 the count to Gonzalez. And the 1-1 pitch by Griggs. High, count now 2-1. 1-0, Saugerties with the lead. We're in the bottom half of the first inning. Jammers went 3 up, 3 down thanks to a great catch by Feinstein and Wright on Brookover. Some speed from Brad Griggs there. It's just a little bit high, and it's ball 3. 3-1 the count. Jack Gonzalez at the plate with a runner at third, and Pedersen, the 3-1 from Griggs. Foul back over the press box area. We're down the third baseline. I'm kind of shaded right toward home plate, so it's a good vantage point for me. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out. And the runner at third, Pedersen, and the payoff pitch. This one's loop foul this time, down toward the third base bleachers. Count remains full with 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, and a runner at third. Jack Gonzalez at the plate. And a ground ball up the middle. It'll score another run. Up with it, Standahar, and they get Gonzalez down at first base, but he drives in Luke Pedersen. Two 0 Saugerties with the lead in the first inning. It'll bring up the designated hitter, Nicholas Teeter. Okay, I've got Teeter and Kelder in the wrong positions in the batting order, and the first pitch is fouled off. And that is strike 1. No balls and 1 strike to Kelder. Tyler Kelder is the third baseman for the Stallions. Fouls back another one into the home plate grandstand netting. Really kind of a protective swing there. Two out, bases clean now. Brad Griggs trying to work himself out of this particular inning. 2 runs on a hit, by the way, for Saugerties, and the 0-2 pitch is high and outside to Kelder. And the count now is 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Those clouds look mean, but thankfully there's no rain falling from them. It's a bit cooler, too, now, since those clouds have entered the area. It was pretty steamy there when we first arrived in Saugerties. Griggs' next pitch misses, and the count is even at 2. With 2 outs and nobody aboard. Break-even pitch cuts and misses at the high heat. Does Tyler Kelder, and that is the final out of the bottom of the first inning. 2 runs across for the Stallions on 1 hit, 1 jammer error, and nobody left on base. At the end of 1 in Saugerties, the score, Stallions 2, Jammers nothing on the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network.
This is the news. This morning, we are saluting the 2.2 million women who have joined in the war effort. They now make up 37% of the workforce, changing their role forever.
The prestigious Harvard Medical School is breaking ground today, opening its doors to new female applicants.
Today, little girls all over the world look to the sky, where the first woman is now in space.
Military stereotypes are challenged today with the trailblazing promotion of a U.S. female officer to 4-star general. It was just announced that the vast majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart disease and stroke than men, even though it can be prevented. Make a change at GoRedForWomen.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
Welcome back to Socrates, New York. Jammers and the Socrates Stallions doing battle tonight. And it is a 2-0 Socrates lead as we head to the top of the second, middle third of the Jammers batting order. That'll be Skylar Valentine, Colin Stack, and Jimmy Standahar. Valentine coming into the game is hitting .349. Line drive, left center field. It gets down. It'll go all the way to the fence. Valentine on his way to second, booted out there a little bit by the left fielder Palczewski, but not enough for Valentine to get the third. The doubles machine continues to roll for the Jammers, and the leadoff man at second base with nobody out, and Colin Stack to step up. Stack hitting .325 on the season. This is 21st game and 21st start. 26 for 80, 17 runs scored for Colin Stack. Make that, yeah, that's right, 17. Conley, the leader in runs scored, with 26 on the season. John Clayton on the hill. And the first pitch to Stack is high, ball one. 1 ball, no strikes to the right-handed hitting right fielder, Colin Stack. Jammers trying to answer the 2 by the Stallions in their half of the first. Jammers trailing, 2 back at Valentine, comes to the plate, and you know what they say when a guy fouls one straight back like that, he was just a hair off from making good contact and at bare minimum getting Valentine to third. Stack has surprising power, as we've noted over the course of the season. He has hit 3 home runs, team leader in that category. He has 18 RBI as well. Here in Socrates, 330 down both lines, 360 to the power alleys, and 390 to straightaway center field. 1-1 the count, and John Clayton steps off the hill. Rubber getting the sign from his catcher, Austin Powell. 1-1 the count. And the pitch. Weakly grounded back to Clayton, and he'll make the throw to first. Valentine will move to third, working almost like a sacrifice bunt. Colin Stacks out, gets Valentine to third, and brings up Jimmy Standahar. And when you just miss it and hit a little weak grounder is what happens in the other case. When you miss it, you swing a little bit too high, and that's just what happened to Stack. That could portend good things in the future in his next trip to the plate. The first pitch to Jimmy Standahar is low, ball one. 1 out, Valentine at third. Skyler got the inning started with a double into the left center field gap. 1 ball, no strikes, the count to Jimmy. And the 1-0 pitch popped up, out of play. Standahar's hitting .418. He has taken over the team lead in batting average, but you got to remember Conley's tonight in his 26th game and 25th start. Standahar in his 22nd game and 18th start. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count, with 1 out, and Skyler Valentine at third. Jammers trailing 2-0. The pitch outside in the dirt, and the count now 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, and 1 out in the Jammers half of the second. Quite the lengthy bus ride from Jamestown to Socrates, let me tell you. 2-1 pitch on the outside corner, taken by Jimmy, and the count evens at 2. The Jammers certainly have managed to grab their numbers of walks. Jimmy has 13 on the season. 2-2 pitch. Valentine got the attention of just about everybody that time as he started darting down the third base line, and it threw Clayton off, and he throws one in the dirt to make the count full on Standahar, 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Thanks to the viewers that are hanging on there on YouTube. Ground ball toward the second baseman. He's going to come home, and the tag, and Valentine is out. Nice play by Pat LaGravenese. Jimmy Standahar on with the fielder's choice. Christian Deaton will step to the plate now. And a conversation out there between Austin Powell and John Clayton on the hill. Home plate umpire Josh Maiman goes out and eventually turns back, and so does Austin Powell. They're back behind the plate, and here we go. Nice play once again at second base by LaGravenese. 2 gone, Standahar at first. Certainly a threat to take off, and there he goes. Throw down, and the tag, he's out. Nice throw by Austin Powell to catch Jimmy Standahar trying to steal. The Jammers, no runs, 1 hit, no errors for the Stallions, and nobody left on base at the end of the inning. We have now completed 1.5 in Saugerties, and the score, Saugerties 2, Jamestown nothing. More coming back after this. You're tuned to the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back in Saugerties for tonight's game between the Jamestown Jammers and the Saugerties Stallions.
When I was 6, I had one thing on my mind.
We move on to the bottom half of the second inning. 1-0 the count, and the ground ball up the middle, past Alex O'Donnell and into center field. It's a leadoff single. And there may be some problems even with our audio stream tonight, thanks to the horrible connection we have with Verizon Wireless. Nicholas teetered down at first, and at the plate, Patrick LaGravenese. LaGravenese with some nice work out there in the field in the top half of the second inning. Steps in with Teeter down at first and nobody out. Saugerties up 2-0 here in the bottom of the second inning. And some more evil-looking clouds begin to encroach on the field. We'll see if they have anything inside them as they get closer. As I say, none of this has been a bad thing because it's cooled it off quite nicely. Next pitch misses to LaGravenese, and the count is now even at 1 ball and 1 strike. left-handed hitting second baseman. LaGravenese hitting .264 in the season, 17 games, 16 starts, 14 for 53 with 9 runs scored. The 1-1 pitch on that inside corner and at the right height for tonight. And the count now is 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the one thing you want out of an umpire behind the plate is consistency. He's calling them low for both sides. 1-2 pitch, slapped at and grounded foul between the third base bag and the head coach of the Saugerties Stallions. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes on LaGravenese. Austin Powell, the catcher, is on deck. Tom Whitaker, of course, the head coach for the Saugerties Stallions. The 1-2 pitch by Griggs missed, and the count evens up at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch by Griggs. This one's fouled back to the netting of the home plate grandstand. We're still at 2-2, but this will now become a 7-pitch at bat. That one that was fouled off bounced back out and into the grass in front of the home plate circle. Connor Rule retrieves it and gives it to Josh Maiman, and he says play ball. 2-2 pitch. Lofted towards center field. Valentine has it measured and makes the catch. LaGravenese is out number 1. Teeter still at first with 1 out now. And it brings up the catcher, Austin Powell. Powell has been having a little bit of trouble at the plate. Comes into the game hitting .185, his 11th game and 10th start. And the first pitch to him misses, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Teeter with a shot up the middle was down at first base, and then LaGravenese, a fly ball out to Valentine. Foul tipped into the glove of Connor Rule, and the count is even at 1-1 on Austin Powell. So with that hit, Saugerties now has 2 runs on 2 hits. Jammers have no runs on 1. And a toss over to first, more of a courtesy toss, not that serious by Brad Griggs, and everything moving in slow motion. Teeter back to the bag with no problem. Swing and a miss on the fastball by Griggs, and Powell is behind now, 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Jammer Griggs. Austin Powell, right-handed hitter, the lefty Brad Griggs on the hill. That was when it was down low. Powell digs down and takes a golf swing and fouls it off. Count now 1-2. Still.
Would have been a borderline strike call for the umpire, and you didn't want to leave it up to him, so he just fouled it off.
Powell at home is hitting .313. That one's fouled straight back to the home plate netting. Count still 1-2. Powell with runners on base hitting just .154. And in the previous game, which was the season opener in Jamestown, Powell did not play. That pitch is high, and the count is now evened up at 2-2 on Austin Powell. Heading to a 7-pitch at bat now with the count 2-2, and Powell has fouled a couple off. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch. Popped up. Second baseman Standahar drifts over toward the first base side and makes the catch of the short popper off the bat of Powell. 2 gone now. Runner still down at first in Nicholas Teeter. Jeff Palczewski, the left fielder, will step up, the number 9 hitter in the order. So in 2 innings, everyone has had a chance to see Brad Griggs pitching from the stretch, and he swings late and fouls it right over into the Stallions' dugout area. Strike 1. No balls and a strike to the right-handed hitting left fielder. Palczewski hitting .125 on the season. 17th game, 15th start, checks his swing and fouls it right off the facade of the Jammers' dugout, and the count now 1-2. Or make that 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes. New ball out to Brad Griggs, and that one, when it bounced off the facade of the dugout, came right over to Connor Rule. And Josh Mayman says that one's no good anymore. A BP ball for the Stallions. 0-2 the count. 2 out. Runner at first. Teeter. And the pitch by Griggs. One hopper hit to Jimmy Standahar. The short route to Alex O'Donnell to retire. Nicholas Teeter forcing him at second and bring the inning to an end. For the Stallions in their half of the second, no runs across. They did have 1 hit. There were no Jammers errors. And 1 runner left on base. We have completed 2. The score, Socrates 2, Jamestown nothing on the Jammers Baseball Network.
The odds of a young girl being discovered by an industry insider while singing to herself pumping gas. 1 in 300 million. The odds of a daughter of a clergyman from Severn, Maryland, spending 11 weeks at #1 on the U.S. singles charts. 1 in 19 million. The odds of going on to win 7 Grammy Awards. 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of selling over 40 million records. 1 in 800,000. The odds of this musician and performer having a child diagnosed with autism. 1 in 68. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Well, despite the fact that the Jammers had 2 on in the top half of the second inning, John Clayton has faced the minimum through the first 2, and he'll face 7, 8, and 9 here in the top of the third. The number 7 hitter is number 7, and that is Christian Deaton, and he's playing position 7. I mean, if that pops up when you're playing the slots, you're in good shape. See if Christian is. And the first pitch to him's inside and low, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Clayton, the righty, a very deliberate worker out there, has picked things up just a little bit, but not a lot. Count evens up at 1-1 with a called strike on Deaton. Christian Deaton coming into the game for the Jammers is hitting 182. His big stat, 22 walks. His on-base percentage at .509. That one's fouled back and off the facade of the home plate grandstand that time. Bounces well out onto the grass behind home plate. 1-2 the count to Christian Deaton. Connor Rule on deck. Alex O'Donnell to follow. The 1-2 pitch has popped up. That one's out of play. Count is still 1-2 on Christian Deaton.
Also, our last batter from last inning, Christian Deaton, number 7. He is indeed our game man. Let's come
on. 1-2 the count. Deaton, the leadoff batter here in the top of the third. The pitch is in the dirt, ball 2. Count is even at 2 on the left-handed hitting left fielder, Christian Deaton. And that big bank of dark gray clouds is progressing over top of the field, and nothing came out of them, which is a good thing for all involved. As I say, the fringe benefit is it's much cooler than what it was earlier. 2-2, it's even to Christian Deaton, leadoff batter here in the top of the third. Jammers trailing 2-0. Clayton's pitch popped up. That is playable in the infield. Shortstop Luke Pedersen makes the call and the catch, and that's out number 1.
First out of the inning, which will bring up to the plate, the catcher, number 22, Connor Rule.
Catcher Connor Rule steps to the plate for the Jammers here in the top of the third. Rule, the right-handed hitter, and Connor Rule coming into the game tonight for the Jammers is, hold on just a sec. Connor Rule's hitting .262. 1 out, nobody aboard, and the pitch to Connor. Catches outside corner, the old PGCBL favorite, that outside corner. Whether it's a righty or a lefty. And that keeps the batters on their toes. Next pitch from Clayton misses inside and low, and the count evens up at 1-1. Saugerties brought 2 across in the bottom of the first to lead this thing 2-0. We're in the top of the third now, and Connor Rule pops one up that's playable. First baseman Jack Gonzalez in foul territory makes the catch for out number 2 here in the top of the third inning. 2 up, 2 down. And that'll bring up shortstop Alex O'Donnell, as Clayton tries to go through 3 innings facing the minimum despite giving up a double, and one of the Jammers reaching on a fielder's choice. 2 out, nobody aboard. And the first pitch to OD. 1 ball and no strikes. Going to give you his batting average. It's .171, but here's something you need to look at. The leading RBI guy on the team is Estrada at 22, followed by Conley at 21, followed by the guy that's hitting .171, O'Donnell, with 20. 1-1 pitch high, deep to left center field. The center fielder back at the wall, makes the catch. Nick Campano back to the wall, and that'll do it for the Jammers in their half of the third. No runs across, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. Clayton's faced the minimum through 3 in the score. Saugerties 2, Jammers nothing on the Jammers Baseball Network.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him opening his own clothing store at the age of 18? 1 in 138,000. Excited to be a part of pop culture, he packed for the big city. The odds of finding someone to invest in his vision? 1 in 4.5 million. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Saugerties, Stallions, and the Jammers doing battle here as we move to the bottom of the third inning. Top of the order for the Stallions, Nick Campana, Luke Pedersen, and Mark Feinstein. Just finishing up one of the contests in foul territory down the third base line, so a bit of a tie-up. Campana started the game with a single to right, stole second, then moved up to third on a throwing error by catcher Connor Rule, who's chasing a foul ball near the dugout of the Jammers and makes the catch right in front of the Jammers dugout. First ball swinging Campana, he pops it up and it's caught by Rule, and that's 1 gone.
It's Luke Pedersen.
1 up, 1 down. Shortstop Luke Pedersen steps up. He walked and scored back in the first inning. 2 runs in for the Stallions, none for the Jammers. Bottom of the third, and the first pitch backs Pedersen off the plate. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Nobody aboard, 1 out. Bottom of the third. Brad Griggs on the hill for Anthony Barone's Jammers. And the 1-0 pitch. This one's fouled off down the left field line. And that one ends up going beyond the bullpens and everything else down there. The count evens up at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the 1-1 pitch. Outside low, and the count now 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Nobody aboard, 1 out. It's the bottom of the 3rd inning here in Saugerties. Jammers will have to come from behind tonight. The 2-1 pitch is low at 3 balls and a strike to Luke Pedersen. Mark Feinstein on deck. 3 balls, 1 strike, and the pitch from Griggs. Hit high in the air, deep to left center field. Valentine back near the ball. He can't catch up with it. He trips and falls at the warning track. Quick throw in. OD with a relay to Estrada. He's out. Great play by Alex O'Donnell. A great throw to Chris Estrada. Placed the tag right where it needed to be. And maybe Skylar Valentine tripping out there and falling was just the delay that was necessary to convince Pedersen to try for 3 and get the gun down. Retire Pedersen, 8-6-5. Nice relay throw from Alex O'Donnell. 2 gone, nobody aboard. Matt Feinstein at the plate for a second trip. Struck out swinging for the first out of the first. First pitch to him, a ball with a count 1-0, and Griggs' next pitch is fouled back to the netting down the first base line and harmlessly drifts behind the Jammers' dugout. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Feinstein. Jack Gonzalez on deck if Feinstein can keep the inning going on that outside corner, the old PGCDL favorite. Count now 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody aboard. Brad Griggs ready with a 1-2 pitch. Missed inside and a bit low, and the count is even at 2 on Feinstein. Feinstein struck out on a 0-2 pitch back in the first. Counts 2-2 here. And he's not going to swing at that one because for the right-handed hitter, that one was in the left-hander's batter's box, and the count is full now at 3-2. Nice crowd on hand here at Saugerties on this beautiful Sunday evening, as it turns out, and that next pitch misses, ball 4. So with 2 out, Brad Griggs issues a free pass to Matt Feinstein and brings up Jack Gonzalez. Gonzalez at the plate for a second trip. Grounded out to Jimmy Standahar for the second out of the first inning. 2 out here. Griggs trying to close the door. Runner down at first. Feinstein, and a toss over by Griggs. Squirts away from Ben Brookover. Not nearly far enough to get Feinstein up to second base. He doesn't even try, rightfully so. So that squirts about 12 feet into foul territory. Nothing dramatic. Gonzalez, the left-handed hitter. Lefty Brad Griggs from the stretch. They have him picked off. Ben Brookover throws to OD, and that'll do it for Saugerties in their half of the 3rd inning. No runs across, 1 hit, no errors for the Jammers, and nobody left on base. We have completed 3, and the score, Saugerties 2 and the Jammers nothing. Back with the Jammers half of the 4th right after this timeout. It's Jammers Baseball, and it's on the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network.
What is that?
Oh, that? It's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure. Just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Me.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait! No!
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Socrates Field, where the Stallions are leading the Jammers by a score of 2-0 as we head to the top of the fourth inning. Top of the order for the Jammers, Chris Conley, Chris Estrada, and Ben Brookover. And, of course, if you're in the top of the fourth and you're at the top of the order, one of the things that could have happened is the starter for the other team has faced the minimum through 3, and that's exactly what has happened here, despite the fact that the Jammers did get a hit, a double off the bat of Skylar Valentine. Also got another runner on base. Valentine eventually got over to third, and when Standohar hit a ground ball to second, they decided to come to the plate to cut down Valentine. They did that, so Standohar was down at first. With 2 out, he tried to steal second, and he was caught. And that's how you face the minimum through 3, despite that double off the bat of Valentine. Conley starts it off, fly ball out to center field to Campano back in the top of the first on a 2-2 pitch, and the first pitch to Conley misses, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Conley, the leadoff batter, and the 1-0 pitch. On the inside corner, Chris takes it, and the count evens up at 1-1. Chris Conley, as the leadoff batter in an inning, is hitting .444. That pitch is inside low, and the count now 2 balls and a strike to the left-handed hitting DH tonight, Chris Conley. And you wonder if Socrates would have been as anxious to run if Conley had been the starting catcher tonight. That pitch is on the inside corner and at the right height, and the count evens up at 2. Connor Rule getting the start behind the plate, and Conley serving as DH. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Clayton's pitch. Looked pretty good from up here, too. Clayton disappointed that he didn't get the call, but Chris Conley watches ball 3. 3-2 the count. As we mentioned, Conley with 29 walks on the season for the Jammers. Payoff pitch. High, ball 4. Make it 30. Chris Estrada will step to the plate for the Jammers. Fly ball out to the right fielder Feinstein for the second out of the first inning. Estrada at the plate with Chris Conley down at first. Chris, with runners on base, is hitting .279. It gets better as you have runners in scoring position or more runners on base. But what he has is just 1 on base right now, ergo the .279. First pitch to him in the dirt. Nice catch by Austin Powell, and that's ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Conley at first, nobody out. 2-0. Socrates leads. We're in the top of the 4th inning. The 1-0 pitch. Conley faked like he was going to try to steal second and pulled back, and then Estrada pops it out to Feinstein out in right field, and that's the first out of the top of the 4th inning. Who hit a shot going down the right field line in his first at-bat that if it would have fallen would have been a double at least for Ben, but a great effort by Feinstein out in right, gets over and catches it about 3 feet in fair territory. So nothing happened good for Ben in that at-bat. We'll see what he can do this time with Conley at first and 1 out. First pitch to him. On the outside corner, strike 1. Count now 0-1 on Ben Brookover. No runs on a hit and an error for the Jammers. 2 runs on 3 hits and no errors for Socrates. No balls, 1 strike. John Brookover singled. 1 ball, no strikes. And Clayton steps off the rubber and wants the catcher, Austin Powell, to come out and talk. Meanwhile, the shortstop, Luke Pedersen, will come in and add his 2 cents to the conversation. This became a big issue in Major League Baseball in a game the other day where it wasn't necessarily that they were stealing the pitch with a runner at second as much as they were stealing the location. Conley's giving no indication that he's giving any kind of sign to Valentine. And the pitch to him. Grounded up the middle. Shortstop gets it, steps on the bag, throws to first. That is an inning-ending double play. Pedersen to LaGravenese to Gonzalez, and that'll do it for the Jammers in their half of the fourth. No runs across, a hit, no errors for the Stallions, and one runner left on base. We've now completed 3.5. The score, Saugerties 2, Jammers nothing on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Pennswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Pennswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Pennswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Pennswood.net Classifieds has it. Pennswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to.
Then what you're going to
this.
do is turn onto Marcy Avenue. Just broke up and go past the first 3 lights and then take the next left.
I don't really
then
think
drive 5
she's
more
happy,
blocks
but
and you should be
who
there.
am I to judge, right?
Park on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Bottom of the 4th inning, and it'll be Jack Gonzalez who is at the plate when Pedersen was gunned down trying to steal second there back in the bottom of the 3rd, and the first pitch to him by Griggs misses, ball 1. Saugerties 2, Jammers nothing. Line drive down the first baseline, past Ben Brookover into foul territory, stacks over, picks it up. It'll be a leadoff double for Jack Gonzalez. And that'll bring up the third baseman, Tyler Kelder. Gonzalez picking up the double, making him 1 for 2, and now Kelder steps up. He struck out swinging for the final out of the 1st inning. Runner at second and nobody out. Jammers and Saugerties, and what is a now rain-shortened 2-game road pitch is right in there. Nice pitch by Griggs, taken by Kelder, strike 1 called. No balls, 1 strike, runner at second and nobody out. Brad Griggs trying to make sure there's nothing added on here in the bottom of the 4th. Line drive right at Jimmy Standahar. 1 hops it and then cannot make the throw in time to get Kelder. And they ring that up as an error on Jimmy Standahar. So now runners at first and second with nobody out. To the plate. Nick singled back in the 2nd inning and then was forced out to bring the inning to an end. Standahar to O'Donnell back in the 2nd. Brad Griggs getting ready to face Teeter, who is the DH tonight. First pitch to him, cut and a miss, strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. Saugerties a better home team both at the plate and their ERA. Higher batting average for the team and a lower ERA when playing here at Saugerties. 0-1 the count to Nick Teeter in the pitch. Misses outside high and the count evens up at 1-1. Teeter on the season hitting .250. Teeter so far this year has drawn 8 walks, and he hits that one right into left field. Deaton comes in and makes the shoestring catch. The throw to second, and that'll double up Jack Gonzalez. 2 gone, double play. As the fly ball out recorded by Christian Deaton. It was an odd catch. It was actually a backhanded shot right around the ankles that he came up with. But Gonzalez was sure that was going to fall in, and he fell prey to that, and he's out at second base. And at the plate is Patrick LaGravenese for the Saugerties Stallions with a runner at first, Tyler Kelder, and 2 out. No balls, 1 strike. That pitch is inside and high, and the count evens at 1. So far in tonight's game, comparatively, as far as pitching goes, Brad Griggs with 67 pitches here in the bottom of the 4th, and John Clayton with 50. Griggs with 41 strikes and 26 balls make that 42 strikes now as the count goes to 1-2 on left-handed hitting second baseman Patrick LaGravenese. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. The runner at first is Tyler Kelder, and the next pitch misses, and the count evens up at 2 on LaGravenese. Some more dark clouds coming, but they don't look like they could even hope to be rain-laden. This one is fouled down the left field line toward the picnic area down there, causing those fans to scatter. And the count is even at 2-2. At Patrick LaGravenese at the plate. 2-2 pitch, tried the off-speed delivery, and LaGravenese did not offer. So the count remained, and make that 3-2 now. Count goes to 3-2. And LaGravenese swings, and that hit the bat, as far as I can tell, and was not caught by rule. And the idea is that, was that a foul ball? And therefore, with it being fouled back, LaGravenese will come back to the plate. Josh Mayman talks it over with the bases umpire. We'll see what decision they reach. We have 2 out here. Kelder was the runner down at first. And Mayman calls Whitaker over. And Whitaker does not agree. And Mayman gets between Whitaker and the bases umpire. Now the bases umpire is going to come in and get a little bit of that. And they're going to send LaGravenese back. And that'll send Kelder back to first. So it's a foul back of the payoff pitch. So with the full count, we'll have a payoff pitch again by Brad Griggs. With 2 out the pitch. This one's looped, and Chris Estrada ranges back, jumps up, and catches it before it exits the infield. Fly ball out to Chris Estrada brings the inning to an end here in the bottom of the 4th. No runs across for Saugerties. 1 hit. There were no errors for the Jammers, and a runner left on base. After 4, the score, Saugerties 2, Jammers nothing, on the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network.
This is why you work so hard to pay the mortgage. Because home is more than 4 walls and a roof. It's that porch swing on a summer night. It's pajamas with feet and everybody over for Sunday dinner. And that old stuffed chair in the living room you just can't get rid of. Second job. This is why you learned to fix things yourself, so you could save on repairs. Because home is your place, your memories, your family sleeping in their own beds today. We want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. And now even more options are available. Call 888-995-HOPE today. That's 888-995-HOPE. Or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov.
Good night, Mama.
This is why. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Back in Socrates for tonight's game between the Stallions and the Jammers on the Jammers Baseball Network. I'm Dave Shannon. Jammers trailing by a score of 2-0 as we head to the top of the fifth inning. Colin Stack, Jimmy Standahar, and Christian Deaton, the batters to face John Clayton here in this top half of the fifth inning. 2 runs across for the Stallions at the beginning of the game. In the bottom of the first, it's held up. It's 2-0 now. Stack takes the first pitch by Clayton low, ball 1. Colin Stack at the plate for a second trip. Hit a little weak grounder back to Clayton for the first out of the second inning. Next pitch is in there, and the count's evened up at 1-1. Now, at that time of the year, at the beginning of the season, Colin Stack was not a member of the Jammers, and we've only played one game against Socrates, so there's no available stats. Swing and a miss by Stack, and the count now 1-2. 1-2 pitch on its way. Misses outside. Counts even at 2 now on the right-handed hitting right fielder, Colin Stack. Colin Stack on the road is hitting .340. Time to flex that muscle right here. Grounds it back. It's off the webbing of the glove of the pitcher, Clayton. Throw to first. They throw it away. And Stack is now on his way to second base. He didn't know exactly where it was, and Hayden Carter down at first base is yelling, "Go to second," and he does. You have to give a single on that and then a throwing error to move him up to second base. So Stack gets the single. Throwing error to LaGravenese. And it'll bring Jimmy Standahar to the plate. Quick discussion out there as the trainer and head coach Whitaker go out and talk to their pitcher, John Clayton. That may not have been Whitaker. Standahar at the plate. Runner at second, Stack. Nobody out. Top of the fifth. The pitch. Bunting is Standahar, and he pops it up all the way up on the roof of the home plate grandstand. Strike 1. Standahar had himself quite the bunt in Jamestown as he got it into that area there. One of the best bunts that you can do is right into that area between the pitcher and the first baseman, and he was able to execute that the other night. He bunts this one straight back to the pitcher. Clayton's going to go to first, pulls the first baseman off the bag, the ball falls, and the umpire says safe. Standahar on board on an error. Stack at third now. I would assume they'd have to charge that to the first baseman at that point, because he did have it in his glove and he dropped it. I think they would have had the out call, but the ball was on the ground. So runners at the corners for the Jammers. Nobody out. Christian Deaton steps up. Christian Deaton did not play in the encounter against the Stallions back at Jamestown. On the road, Christian Deaton hitting .174, .182 on the season. Opportunity here. First pitch to him. Puts down the bunt and then pulls it back and watches ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Inning started with Stack getting the infield single, moving up to second on a bad throw. First error of the inning. Standahar reaches on an error. 1-0 the count. That one hits off the front of the plate. That'll allow Stack to score on the wild pitch. And the Jammers are within 1. It's 2-1. And we have done stranger things to score runs, that's for sure. So the count goes to 2-0 on Deaton, and Standahar moves up to second on the wild pitch, charge to John Clayton. 1 run on 3 hits for the Jammers. We've had those lopsided runs and hits before, so see if we can get a second one in here. Tie this thing up. 2-0 the count to Deaton. Clayton's pitch. Grounded right at the first baseman. Nice pick by Jack Gonzalez. Beats Deaton to the bag. Standahar moves to third. I'll bring up the catcher, Connor Rule. It's a tying run at third. And just 1 out. Alex O'Donnell is on deck for the Jammers. A run on 3 hits, a couple errors for the Jammers, 2 runs on 4 hits, and a couple errors now for the Stallions. And the first pitch to Rule catches outside corner and strike 1 called. 0-1 pitch, fouled back by Rule. And the count is quickly 0-2 on the right-handed hitting catcher of the Jammers.
It's not even like Tyler Kelder could just stretch out and make the catch for the force out. You would have to then tag him as well.
No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Tying run at third, and Jimmy Standahar. Socrates leads 2-1. Standahar starts down the line, and Rule watches a called strike 3 and has some words for Josh Mayman as he makes his way over to the dugout. That'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Alex O'Donnell, with a chance to add to his RBI total. He tried to do that back in the 3rd inning. And he hit one deep to left center field. And it was caught by Campana. 2 out, the pitch. Outside corner, strike 1 call. Inning started with Stack being rewarded with an infield single, and then the throw by the second baseman allowed him to get up to second. Moved to third when Standahar was reaching on an error to the first baseman. Fielded by the pitcher, Clayton, but then Gonzalez could not hold on to the ball. And then Stack came in on the wild pitch. Standahar is now at third with 2 out. 1-1 the count to O'Donnell. The 1-1 pitch by Clayton's in the dirt, gets by the catcher. Here comes Jimmy Standahar, and the throw is in time. Nice block of the plate by John Clayton. Jimmy Standahar did not go down into a slide. And he's having a quick discussion with Josh Mayman, but he'll be retired, going catcher to the pitcher. Austin Powell to John Clayton, and that'll do it for the Jammers in their half of the 5th. A run on a hit, couple of errors for the Socrates Stallions, and nobody left on base. We've completed 4.5 at Socrates in the score. Stallions 2, Jammers 1 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Bottom of the fifth, Austin Powell leads it off and takes the first pitch from Brad Griggs for a called strike one. Powell at the plate for a second trip. He popped out to Jimmy Standahar for the second out of the second. 0-1 the count in the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike two. Brad Griggs quickly working ahead of Austin Powell at no balls and 2 strikes. That was pitch number 74 for Brad Griggs. Here in the bottom of the fifth, the 0-2. High outside, and the count now 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Powell steps back in. He had called time, really didn't even exit the batter's box. 1-2 pitch on its way. Fouled off the catcher's mask of Connor Rule and goes into foul territory. Josh Mayman will then cover for the backstop of the Jammers in tonight's game. As umpires will do, the catchers do the same for the umpires when they get nicked by a foul tip. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mayman stops and dusts off the plate too on the way back. 1-2 pitch. Outside corner, strike 3 called. Powell is out number 1. Left fielder Jeff Palczewski steps up. He grounded into a fielder's choice to end the second. Palczewski, the right-handed hitter, at the plate for Socrates, leading this game by a score of 2-1 now. First pitch to him is strike 1. Make that ball 1. I guess I misread that. That pitch is in the dirt and through the webbing of the catcher's mitt of Connor Rule. Mayman gives him a new one. And somebody scoops up that one that scooted back to the home plate grandstand, and Mayman puts it in his pocket, checks it again. A lot of people may not notice that, but he did take a look at it. This is popped up and playable. Brad Griggs makes the call right at the foul line down the first base line. He catches it to retire Palczewski for the second out of the bottom of the fifth inning. 2 up, 2 down. Nick Campana steps up at the plate for a third time. Singled and scored back in the first when Socrates jumped out to a 2-0 lead. And he popped out to Connor Rule back in the third inning. Right over in front of the Jammers dugout. The first pitch to him is a strike. No balls and 1 strike. Brad Griggs 0-1 pitch, high outside. Count evens at 1 on Campana. Campana in the game at Jamestown went 1 for 3 and scored a run. 1-1 pitch, popped up, shallow center field. Standahar back, Valentine in, Schuyler of the fifth. 3 up, 3 down, no runs, hits, or errors, and nobody left on base. At the end of 5, the score, Socrates 2, Jammers 1. Back with the Jammers half of the 6th after this on the Jammers Baseball Network.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
Top of the 6th inning, Jamestown Jammers trailing the Socrates Stallions by a score of 2-1. On a beautiful Sunday night for baseball, Jammers move on to take on Oneonta tomorrow night and then eventually play a home game on Wednesday the 5th as Elmira comes to town for a 7:05 start. And don't forget, on Friday, Adirondack comes to town on a $5 Friday. This one's hit deep to left field. The left fielder goes back and just watches this one sail over the left field wall. Alex O'Donnell has hit another home run for the Jamestown Jammers, and this game is tied at 2. Alex O'Donnell, as I said, that 171 batting average is so misleading, as O'Dean now collects his 21st RBI and 22nd base of 2017. OD deep over the left field, which is a double height out there on the pool side from 360 in the alley to 330 down the line. Hit it right in that area. Jammers tied at 2. Thanks to the solo homer off the bat of Alex O'Donnell. It'll bring up Chris Conley. Conley at the plate for a third trip. 0 for 1, walk back in the 4th. 1 ball, no strikes. Next pitch on that inside corner, and the count evens up at 1 on Chris Conley, DHing tonight for Anthony Barone's Jammers. In the game at Jamestown, Chris Conley 1 for 5, but that one hit was a dandy. That was the one that won the game for us. We had a walk-off in extra innings. Next pitch to Conley, a strike, and the count now 1-2. Cut and a miss, strike 3. Nice effort by Clayton. Almost seemed like he was a little perturbed over the fact that O'Donnell hit one out on him and came with some serious heat to Conley, striking him out. 1 gone, nobody aboard, and Chris Estrada will step up to face John Clayton. Estrada, fly ball out to right field 2 times. Caught by Feinstein. The first pitch, top of the 6th, tied at 2. 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors for the Jammers. 2 4 and 2 for the Stallions. Grounded down the third baseline, and it goes foul by about a foot and a half. Count evens at 1 on right-handed hitting third baseman Chris Estrada. Nobody aboard and 1 out. O'Donnell started the inning with a solo home run. 1-1 the count, cut, a miss. Clayton coming with more heat. Count now 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody aboard. Clayton's 1-2 pitch. Estrada cuts and misses, strike 3, blew it by him. So he gives up the leadoff homer to O'Donnell and seems to have inspired him then to throw the ball really fast. Getting Conley and Estrada. 2 gone, and Ben Brookover steps up. Ben at the plate for a third trip. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Could have been 2 for 2, except for a great play in right by Feinstein. Ooh, the off-speed pitch. And he went around. The bases umpire rings up Brookover for strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. Getting into one of those kind of picture sunsets now where you got the orange highlights showing up in the bottoms of the clouds. That pitch is on the outside corner, taken by Brookover, and it's a no ball, 2 strike count. And it looks like basically clear skies to the west where the weather is coming from. 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Had Brookover off balance. He swings and misses, and for John Clayton, he ends up striking out the side after giving up the leadoff homer to Alex O'Donnell. A run across, a hit, no errors for Socrates, and nobody left on base. The score at the end of 5 1/2. Jammers 2, Stallions 2 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, there's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Back for the Stallions half of the sixth inning. It'll be Luke Pedersen, Matt Feinstein, and Jack Gonzalez to face Brad Griggs.
Sorry.
I can plug it in if you want me to. I do have functional hands.
I know.
Here's a line drive into left. Deaton comes in and makes the catch. The line drive off the bat of Luke Pedersen, and he is out number one. One gone in the Stallions half of the sixth. Matt Feinstein steps up. Feinstein is 0 for 1. Struck out swinging back in the first. Walked and was picked off 1-3-6. First pitch to him's in the dirt. Skips up. Caught by Connor Rule. Ball one to Matt Feinstein. 1 ball, no strikes. Nobody aboard, 1 out. That one's in there, and the count evens up at 1 on Matt Feinstein. Feinstein, the right-handed hitter for the Stallions. Feinstein hitting .338 on the season. Hits this one deep to center field. Valentine back just short of the warning track, makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down. That's what you call pitching to contact there. And having the confidence and knowing you have someone out in center field like Skylar Valentine. Jack Gonzalez steps up. Gonzalez did play against us in Jamestown and went 2 for 5. That means he hit .400 against us. 2 out and nobody aboard. Bottom of the sixth, tied at 2. Inside corner taken by Gonzalez. He knew it. It was strike 1. Called by Josh Maiman behind the plate tonight, working the game. 0-1 pitch. That one's high and inside, and the count evens up at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out, nobody aboard.
No.
You want?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Here's a ground ball to Jimmy Standohar. He makes the throw to Ben Brookover to retire Gonzalez, and a nice clean inning for Brad Griggs. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. As we have completed 6, the score, Jammers 2, Stallions 2. Is it going to be another walk-off night? Hopefully not. That would mean Socrates won. Let's see if the Jammers can do something about that and get some runs here in the top of the 7th. We'll be back after this on the Jammers Baseball Network.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape? You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman! Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Well, the Jammers will be facing somebody new out there on the hill for the Stallions in their half of the 7th inning in a 2-all tie as Brady Peterson comes in relief. Peterson has a game 8 2/3 pitched, has given up 5 runs on 11 hits to reach that 5.19 ERA, and opponents averaging 333 with Peterson on the hill. Final numbers for Clayton: he goes 6, faces 22 batters, 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 struck out 4, and threw a wild pitch. 77 pitches. Rather pitch for John. The next guy up, Peterson, and the first ball and no strike. Brady Peterson. Right hand 2-0 count on Valentine, and Peterson's pitch. Cut and a miss, 2 balls and a strike. Brady Peterson, the right-handed pitcher from North Fort Myers. He's attending Stetson. He's a junior there. 2-1 the count on Valentine. Peterson with the 2-ball, 1-strike pitch. Valentine gets a piece, stays alive at the plate, evening the count up at 2-2. Now, along with the $5 Friday coming up this week, Sunday games, it's a $5 admission for the parent. That pitch to Valentine misses, ball 3, and the count now 3-2. 3:05 start time on Sunday afternoons, and the kids get to run the bases at the end of the game. Once again, July 9th, when we host Oneonta. Bring the kids and have a good time at Russell A. Dietrich Jr. Park. Payoff pitch, inside high, backing Valentine off the plate. Leadoff man's on for the Jammers in their half of the 7th, and the right fielder, Colin Stack, will come to the plate. Scotty James working, going out to get the gloves and protective devices worn by Skylar Valentine when he's at the plate, and his bat, heads back to the dugout, and Stack gets ready to go. Stack rounded out to the pitcher Clayton back in the 2nd, and he also singled and came around to score in the 5th. Valentine with a healthy lead off the bag at first, and Stack takes the first pitch, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Some of the clouds deep in the distance now, those dark blue clouds with a magenta tint around the outside. The toss over the first base, and Valentine has to dive back in. Coming out from behind the plate, Austin Powell to talk to the new pitcher, Brady Peterson. There is some activity in the Jammers' pen, early loosening stages for the 2 pitchers out there. So far, Brad Griggs, in his 6 innings of work, has thrown 88 pitches. This one is ripped foul down the first base line by Colin Stack, and the count is even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Stack, one of these guys, standing behind Colin today as we were stopped for some food on the way over here to Socrates, and you stand beside him and he just doesn't look like that guy that has that home run power, but by golly, he does. Leads the team with home runs in 3. 1-1 pitch. That one's lofted towards center field. Coming in as the center fielder, Campana, makes the catch to retire Stack for the first out of the Jammers' half of the 7th. Second baseman Jimmy Sandahar steps up. Fielder scores back in the 2nd, and then reached on an error first baseman. Pitcher Clayton fielded the ball, got it to. One of the staff members ferries some balls out to home plate umpire Josh Maiman. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Valentine drew the leadoff walk. He's down at second after he stole it. Possession is 90% of the rule of ownership. Jimmy Standahar swings and misses, strike 3. 2 gone. Christian Deaton will step to the plate. He popped out to the shortstop. Luke Pedersen, he did that back in the 3rd inning for the first out, and he popped out to first baseman Jack Gonzalez for the first out of the 5th. Up there now with 2 out, Skylar Valentine at second, and a tie game in the top of the 7th. Peterson's first pitch, and by Deaton, strike 1. Off-speed pitch. No balls and 1 strike. Jammer's going to try to get Valentine in. He's in scoring position with a big lead off the bag at second, and that pitch is on the outside corner, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Once again, want to apologize because we've been somewhat problem-free with the YouTube feed for a while now, and we just have a crappy Verizon connection, and we're dropping frames tonight. Once again, our apologies. Time called by Deaton as Peterson takes too long, and the boos come up from the home plate grandstand. No balls, 2 strikes. 2 out, Valentine at second in a tie game. Jammers trying to take the lead. Deaton slaps at the 0-2 pitch. Weak grounder. Shortstop fields, throws, and does not get. Christian Deaton. Deaton fast down the line, beats it out. Infield single for Deaton moves Valentine to third and brings up Connor Rule. After ball one. This is one where Powell has to certainly be at his best. 1-0 the count. Valentine. And the pitch is on the outside corner taken by Rule. A fastball from Peterson. The count evens at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out, 2 on for the Jammers in the top of the 7th inning. Righty Brady Peterson in relief of John Clayton. There goes the runner. Deaton. Defensive indifference allows him to reach second base. And 2 to Connor Rule in the count 2-1. Well, the next distraction we could get is a typical Valentine dart down the third base line. And he started down that way. Ground ball in the hole between short and third into left field. Anthony Barone waves Deaton. Valentine already scored. He slides. He's safe. Jammers take the lead at 4-2. It's a single by Connor Rule through the hole between short and third. Give him a couple of RBIs and move him up to second base on the throw. Scoring from third, Valentine, no problem there. And then Anthony Barone, the speed of Christian Deaton sends him as well. And the Jammers jump out to a 4-2 lead. Solo shot. 1 in.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and
pull me out. This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back in Socrates, we're lead scoring 2 in the top half of the 7th inning, and Brad Griggs will bottom of the 7th. Due up for the Socrates Stallions, it'll be Tyler Kelder, Nick Teeter, and Patrick LaGravenese. So the Jammers trailed from the beginning of the ball game, unable to score in their half of the first, and then Socrates bringing 2 across there. Jammers got within 1 in the 5th. Alex O'Donnell tied it with a solo homer in the 6th, and now with 2 runs in the 7th, the Jammers have taken a 4-2 lead. Tyler Kelder steps up. He's 0 for 2. Struck out swinging for the final out of the first inning. Reached on an error charge to Jimmy Standahar in the 4th. Brad Griggs on the hill. Colin Johnston, I believe, warming up in the Jammers' pen. The first pitch to Kelder's fouled back, strike 1. No balls and a strike. Retrieved by Quinn Taylor. 0-1 pitch. High outside, and the count's even at 1 to Tyler Kelder. Brad Griggs with a 1-1 pitch. Popped up, and Rule gives it a look, but I don't think it's playable. It's out of play. Right behind the Jammers' dugout. Just enough to keep Kelder alive at the plate to count 1-2. Now information being ferried down. Apparently, we forgot our frozen walkie-talkies. That's how we communicate with the bullpen. And with Anna and Elsa from Frozen on them. They were cheap. What could I say? So that's what we bought. 2-2 the count here on Kelder. Oh my, where was that? It's ball 3. The count 3-2. Kelder, the leadoff batter for Socrates in their half of the 7th. Brad Griggs with a payoff pitch. Popped up. Shallow left. O'Donnell out. Deaton in. OD makes a call in the catch to retire Tyler Kelder for the first out of the 7th. 1 up, 1 down, and Nick Teeter will step in.
The designated hitter in the College of St. Rose, Nick Teeter.
Nick Teeter is 1 for 2 on the night, singled back in the 2nd, and hit a fly ball out to Christian Deaton for the first out of the 4th. 1 out, nobody aboard. Griggs' pitch. Just misses low on that outside corner, ball 1. 1 ball, no strike pitch from Griggs. Line drive, left field, back goes Deaton. Further back, it hits on the warning track and bounces off the fence. Deaton up with it quickly and into OD, who shortstops the throw in. Teeter has a 1-out double to left center, and Socrates trying to get back into it. Patrick LaGravenese at the plate. Fly ball out to Skylar Valentine, first out of the 2nd for LaGravenese, and then he popped out to Chris Estrada for the final out of the 4th. Anthony Barone quickly out of the bullpen, and he tells Colin Johnston to stay put. He just wants to have a talk with Griggs at this point, and if you're interested, the pitch count for Brad's at 96 here in the 7th inning. 59 strikes, 37 balls. He's walked 2 and he's struck out 3 in tonight's game. The talk continues. Josh Mayman starts out. Anthony Barone looks and sees him and heads back to the dugout. Barone keeps an eye on Justin out there. And the Collin is ready at this point if needed. The question is, when do you take the hook out? Brad Griggs. And the first pitch, he bunts down the third base line. Griggs fields, throws to first, and they got him. What a throw by Griggs and a stretch by Brookover. The outside corner, not what it used to be. Austin Powell at the plate, count 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 out. 2-0 pitch. That one's in the dirt. That is ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes, 2 out. Will Anthony Barone come get him if he walks Austin Powell? Let's see. He walked him on 4 straight, and here is Barone. That'll do it for Brad Griggs, as Colin Johnston will make his way in from the Jammers bullpen.
And we got signs on corners.
So Big Red comes in from the bullpen, Colin Johnston. We'll give you some final totals on Brad Griggs in just a second. Colin Johnston takes the ball from Brad Griggs and gets ready to throw his warm-up tosses. As Griggs goes 6 2/3. Longest outing, I believe, by a starter this season. And Colin Johnston. Jeff Palczewski will be the first batter to face Colin. Brad Griggs goes 6 2/3, faces 26 batters, gives up 2 runs, 5 hits, walked 3, struck out 3, 101 pitches, 60 strikes and 41 balls. He'll depart with a 4-2 lead. Can win the game. Could be a part of a no decision depending on what Socrates is able to do here with 2 out.
Can we get a name?
Colin Johnston. 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 Colin Johnston.
Nico says Colin Johnston, number 18.
Here, you guys need. I tried to enter these guys a roster at the beginning of the night, but the copier wasn't working. So I'll try that again with the copier working now. We'll give them the Jammers roster. There, you can make a copy of that. Give that to your PA guy so he's in the know. Jeff Palczewski will be the first batter to face Colin Johnston. Johnston on the season making his 13th appearance, a .53 ERA, a record of 1-0. He has a couple of saves. He's gone 17 innings pitched. Given up 1 run on 16 hits. He's walked 6 out of 10. Colin Johnston, with opponents averaging .250 against him, will face a pinch hitter at the plate for Palczewski. And so they brought in some guy that's twice the size of Palczewski to pinch hit. Who can blame him? Nice to have a guy like this in your back pocket. First pitch, right at the knees taken, strike one. The crowd, of course, does not agree with that call. Matt Pusher. Is that who that is? Number 34. Yep. No balls, 1 strike. Colin Johnston. Time called. Takes too long. Actually, Connor Rule needed to have a talk with Colin Johnston as he detected that he was having difficulty picking up the signs. Comes back behind the plate. Bouchard steps back in with an 0-1 count on him. Jammers 4, Socrates 2, bottom of the 7th, the pitch. Weak grounder down the third baseline, charging Estrada, and he can't come up with it cleanly. Coming in to score is Nick Teeter. Infield single for Bouchard. 4-3 the score. Powell at second. And Bouchard down at first. An RBI too. 4-3 the score, bottom of the 7th. The plot thickens. Nick Campana at the plate with 2 out, the pitch. On the outside corner, Connor frames that one up. Josh Mayman says he agrees. Strike 1. No balls, 1 strike. 2 out and 2 on for the Stallions in their half of the 7th. Jammers took the lead with 2 in the top of the 7th, and now Socrates has answered with a single tally in the bottom of the 7th so far. There are 2 out with a 2 on. Colin Johnston in relief of Brad Griggs, the run charge to Griggs. 0-1 pitch, way out in front of it. Swing and a miss by Campana, and the count's quickly 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes. Campana at the plate with runners on base, hitting .333. Outside corner that looked like it was there, and he doesn't get the call. Count 1-2. Sometimes it comes and goes. That PGCBL favorite. That time it went. 1-2 the count. 2 out. 1-2 pitch from Johnston. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Colin Johnston comes in, puts out the fire, does give up a run by allowing Teeter to score on an infield single off the bat of Matt Bouchard. 1 run across on 2 hits, no Jammers errors, and 2 runners left on base. At the end of 7, the score, Jammers 4, Stallions 3 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child, and believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusey. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Back in Saugerties, where the Stallions have made another pitching change to face the Jamestown Jammers. Brady Peterson has a little one-inning night of work. And now you can enter Kevin Napoleon. And I don't know that I would... Remembering the movie Major League, I don't know that I necessarily want to be in the game using my walk-up music as Wild Thing. But hey, he needs to learn how to button his vest, part of his uniform, for starters. And he is doing that right now. God bless America. He was showing us too much T-shirt. Way too much T-shirt. All right, he's got it buttoned up now. And here we go. Top of the order for the Jammers in the top of the 8th, Chris Conley, Chris Estrada. And Conley is 0 for 2 tonight. Fly ball out to center field, strikeout swinging. He did reach, though, in the 4th when he walked. Left-handed hitter to face the lefty Kevin Napoleon. And the first pitch. Outside low, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Want to know the count? Conley trying to get something started, get a little insurance here for the Jammers. That's low, ball 2. We did see Napoleon in Jamestown when he went an inning and up 1 and no runs. Conley fouls it back to the home plate grandstand netting, and the count goes to 2-1. On the season, Kevin Napoleon, this is his 11th appearance, 15 innings so far, a 2.40 ERA, and a 2-win, no-loss mark. No saves so far in the season. That pitch is outside, ball 3, and in the dirt as well. 3 balls and a strike to the left-handed hitting Chris Conley on the hill, Kevin Napoleon. Chris Conley, when leading off an inning, hitting .444. 3-1 pitch on the outside corner, and the count is full at 3-2. Estrada on deck. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 3-2 pitch. Getting a piece of it and fouling it back to the home plate grandstand to stay alive is Conley. Count still full, 3-2. New ball goes in to Kevin Wild Thing Napoleon. 3-2 the count. 3-2 pitch. Getting a piece of it again and fouling it toward the first base bleachers just past the Jammers dugout. And Chris Conley now has this up to an 8-pitch at-bat. 3-2 the count. He's fouled off a couple. This is what Chris does. Fans with some rhythmic applause trying to get Napoleon to get him here. That one's high, ball 4. Fans thought it was a strike. Chris Conley, leadoff walk. And a pinch runner comes in for Chris Conley. It'll be John Conti. It's number 6, John Conti.
His runner for Jamestown, 6 John Conti.
2 strikes. And it hits him. Comes inside at the ankles and hits him. Conti at second. Ben Brookover will have a chance now. And the Wild thing is a little wild. As he comes inside and somewhere between the shins and the ankles, Chris Estrada, that is, gets hit by a pitch. Conti comes in from second, Estrada from first, and Ben Brookover, and they all meet with Anthony Barone about 2/3 of the way down the third base line toward the plate. Once again, the Jammers will travel to Oneonta tomorrow to take on the Outlaws. That game at Oneonta is a 7:05 start. Jammers don't play on the 4th of July. We then host Elmira on Wednesday, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. I have to try to get the info from Austin Alonge at the front office for the Jammers. I think there's things going on like $2 hot dogs, $2 this, $2 that, all kinds of $2 stuff on the 5th of July. And of course, always an important game when you're playing against your division, and it will be Elmira that comes in to Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park. All right, all the discussions have gone on, and we are set to resume play. 2 on, nobody out. Brookover at the plate. Lefty Kevin Napoleon on the hill. Pitch to Brookover. In the dirt, nice block by Powell. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Socrates scored 2 in the bottom of the 1st. Led the game up until the 5th. Jammers got within 1. Alex O'Donnell tied it with a solo homer in the 6th, and then scored 2 in the 7th. At that time, taking a 4-2 lead. Stallions with a single tally in the bottom of the inning. Both runners go. Brookover swings and fouls it off. Counts even at a ball and a strike on Ben Brookover. Does it get any better than this in the evening? Here at a beautiful ballpark on a nice cool evening after a pretty hot day. It just doesn't get any better. I'm telling you. 1-1. Nope. Did he balk? Would be about the only question here. And Anthony Barone doesn't even make any motion toward making a balk request. Counts him 1-1. Left-handed pitcher Kevin Napoleon on the hill. Brookover squares to bunt and does bunt. Foul down the first base line. Count it 1-2. I'm surprised that that's exactly what happened. Because when you look at Ben Brookover and his performance over the season, bunting is not necessarily one of the things you attribute to him. But then again, another thing you don't attribute to Ben Brookover is stolen bases. And he got to be Mr. Speedy on our last road trip and ended up thieving 3. 1-2 the count here. 4-3, Jammers lead. Top of the 8th inning. Runner at second, Conti. Down at first, Chris Estrada. Kevin Napoleon ready to bring the 1-2. Brookover swings, and it's into left field for a base hit. Conti rounds third. He'll come in to score. Estrada had the play right in front of him as Palczewski. Nope, that's not Palczewski. Let's see who's in left field. Number 24 for the Socrates Stallions. Gonzalez moved there. And then we have third base is Bouchard. Bouchard at first. First ball 1. The biggest, strongest hit in the world off the bat of Brookover, but hey, got a run in, right? Puts us back up by 2. 5 runs on 7 hits now for the Jammers. And you knew Barone would send Conti with his speed. Bunted by Skylar Valentine, and the count evens up at 1-1 as it goes into foul territory. Brookover back to first, Estrada back to second. Both looking at Anthony Barone for a sign as to what is on. So is Valentine. So we'll see what the head coach of the Jammers has in mind with a 1-1 count on Skylar and 2 on. Nobody out. We're in the top of the 8th. Jammers up 5-3. 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. Squaring to bunt, pulling back is Skylar Valentine and takes ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. Once again, apologies to our YouTube viewers if you weren't with us early on, or maybe you were and you're listening to the audio only now. A really horrible Verizon wireless connection here is causing us to have a low bit rate in trying to feed it to you, and so we're dropping frames on the YouTube broadcast. We had that problem solved, but we've never been to Socrates before, so now we know better.
Go ahead, Cap. Be smart here. Be smart.
2 balls, 2 strikes, the count. Estrada with his lead off the bag at second. Brookover down at first. The pitch. Skylar pops it up, and it could be playable. Pichard gives chase, and no, it gets just beyond the perimeter fencing for the field of play. Count remains even at 2 on Skylar. Skylar doubled back in the second. Thought we would get him in, but he ends up being thrown out trying to score on a ground ball by Jimmy Standahar. Grounded into an inning-ending double play in the 4th. In the 7th when we brought 2 across. Well, 1 across here. 2-2 pitch off speed delivery. As that one was well below the knees, that is. And getting the call is Kevin Napoleon. Strike 3 call. First out of the inning. Colin Stack steps to the plate for the Jammers in the top of the 8th. He is 1 for 3. Grounded out to the starting pitcher, John Clayton, back in the 2nd. Singled and scored in the 5th. And hit a fly ball out to the center fielder, Campana, for the first out of the 7th. First pitch to him here. Suddenly the strike zone is much lower. Stack takes strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. 1 out, 2 on. Hayden Carter vacates the first base coach's box. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Jokingly on the bus, head coach Anthony Barone says, "Come on, Hayden, get thrown out of a game." He said, "No, I'm not going to do that. Unless the situation warrants." Swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 up, 2 down, called 3rd strike, strikeout swinging. Jimmy Standahar comes up with Estrada still at 2nd and Brookover at 1st. And then to the right-hand second baseman Jimmy Standahar. And you look at Conley, and what both of them do is reach. And they both have fantastic batting averages at this point in the season. As we go past the halfway point, the off-speed pitch, and Jimmy, so frustrated. He was prepared for something a little faster, and it came in at that speed, and nothing he could do. 1-1 the count. When you get your mindset that you're going to get something fast and that happens, you're either going to look silly with a bad swing or you can't even get the bat off your shoulders. And that pitch misses, and it's ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater down there. 2-1 pitch, line drive, and coming in to make the catch, it's Campana to retire Standahar and the Jammers in their half of the 8th. They do get that run back as they score 1 on 1 hit. No errors for the Stallions. 2 runners left on base. At the end of 7 1/2, the score, Jammers 5, Stallions 3. Stallions half of the 8th next on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Hey everybody, Rachel Ray here. Nothing puts a bigger smile on my face than cooking up a big meal for family and friends. But there's not enough room at my table for the 17 million kids in America who are struggling with hunger. These children, that's 1 out of every 5, often have to skip meals because there's just nothing to eat in the kitchen. Yet there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food produced right here in America to feed every last hungry child. If only there was a way to get it to them. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across our country. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America at your local food bank and at feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Socrates Stallions with a little bit of the American Legion baseball look as they pitcher number 21, Mark Meyer, down to coach at first. So you have a pitcher coaching at first, and for the Matt Feinstein steps in. Along with making some great plays in the field, he did reach base once back in the 3rd inning when he walked and then was picked off Griggs to Brookover to O'Donnell. And that one's right down the pipe from Johnston, strike 1. So Feinstein 0 for 2 on the night and is behind here, no balls and a strike. Colin Johnston, second pitcher of the night for the Jammers. Griggs started and went 6 2/3. 0-1 pitch on its way. Fouled back to the home plate grandstand. The count is 0-2 quickly on Feinstein. Anthony Barone quickly I thought Anthony was trying to get a BP ball for tomorrow. But no, he gave it back to the Stallions. In a true good faith effort. 0-2 the count. That pitch is in the dirt, and it's caught in the webbing of the catcher's mitt of Connor Rule. 1-2 the count on Feinstein. Big Red gets the sign and brings a 1-2. That's inside and low, and the count's even at 2 now. 5 runs, 7 hits, a couple errors for the Jammers, 3, 6, and 2 for Socrates. Stallions up, bottom of the 8th, 2-2 pitch. Swing, foul tipped into the glove of Connor Roll. He held it, it's strike 3. 2 up, 2 down. Jack Gonzalez, first baseman. Well, now the left fielder steps in. Gonzalez Bouchard came in to pinch hit. Bouchard then took Gonzalez's place down at first. Jack at the plate for a 4th trip. He's 1 for 3 to this point. And the first pitch is low and outside, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. 2 out, nobody aboard in the Stallions' half of the 8th. And a 5-3 Jammers lead. The 1-0 pitch. It's popped up over the press box area here. And the count is 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Once again, don't forget, we'll be with you tomorrow night, 7:05 from Oneonta when we take on the Outlaws. It's always a fun game for me. I get to sit in the stands with the fans there. Ooh, Connor Roll pulls that one right up into the strike zone, and Josh Mayman was buying what he was selling. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. I'm surprised there wasn't a major uproar from the crowd on that call. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Johnston's 1-2 pitch. This one's fouled down the third base line and out of play. Count 1-2. Colin Johnston trying to get the final out here in the bottom of the 8th. There's nobody aboard and 2 out, and I don't see Hunt up. I would imagine if he was going to come in the 9th, and he may already be. Where was that? Counts even at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, all things even. That was a makeup call on one of those low strikes, I think. 2-2 pitch. This one's pulled down and over the bullpen of the Jammers down the right field line. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 out and nobody aboard for Socrates in their half of the 8th. At the plate, it's left-handed hitting first baseman Jack Gonzalez. Righty Colin Johnston's pitch, reaching out to get just a little piece of it and foul it back to the netting of the home plate grandstand. Gonzalez, and the count is still 2-2. Gonzalez working this at bat, now has it up to 7 pitches. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and Johnston's break-even pitch is fouled off. Still 2-2. And he's going to have to throw to Jack Gonzalez. Griggs threw 101 tonight. Johnston's been in for 2 innings, and he has now thrown 22. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. Hits that one deep to center field. Valentine back. He's under and makes the catch. Jack Gonzalez flies out to Skylar Valentine to bring the Stallions 8th to an end. No runs, hits, or errors, and nobody left. The score at the end of 8, Jammers 5, Stallions 3 on the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Well, the wild thing, Kevin Napoleon's night is done. And enter in out of the bullpen for the Socrates Stallions. The young man that wears number 31, left-handed pitcher Jason Antelek. Let's take a look at the Wild Things relief appearance as he goes an inning, faces 6 batters. Gave up a run and a hit. Walked 1, struck out 2, and hit a batter. 30 pitches, 18 strikes, and 12 balls. He'll be facing the bottom third of the Jammers order, Christian Deaton, Connor Rule, and Alex O'Donnell. Jammers up by pair, 5-3, as we enter the top of the 9th inning. Christian Deaton at the plate for a 4th trip. He's 1 for 3 tonight. An infield single that got him on board, and he came around to score in the 7th when the Jammers put 2 up to take the lead in the game. First is taken, strike 1. No balls and a strike. Antelek gets the sign from Powell, and the pitch. Outside corner taken by Deaton. No balls and 2 strikes.
Go ahead, Jay. Fill it up, baby. Fill it up.
Jason Antelek with the 0-2 pitch. Deaton watches that one go off the top of the catcher's mitt of Powell, and the count is now 1-2. Low, ball 2. Counts evened up now at 2-2. Antelek jumped out to a no ball 2 strike count. Deaton battling, has it even at 2. Antelek's pitch is in the dirt, ball 3. One of the things that Deaton does rather well, actually, is wait out these situations. Let's see if he can draw the walk. 3-2 pitches in the dirt, ball 4. No chase by Deaton. He's down at first, and Connor Rule steps up. Nice single to left field back in the 7th. Picking up 2 RBIs. Connor Rule with that. He got over to third base, but we could not get him in the 7th. But we scored enough to take the lead at the time, 4-2. Socrates answered with a single tally in the bottom half of the 7th to make it 4-3. And now back in the 8th, the Jammers scored another 1. Here's a bunt by Connor Rule. They go to second base and they get Deaton. No throw made over to first. Nice play by the pitcher, Jason Antelek, to retire Christian Deaton. Put Rule down at first base on a fielder's choice. Alex O'Donnell steps to the plate. He has a round tripper to his credit tonight, as he hit the ball out of the park in the 6th. All 3. Three balls, no strikes. Takes his glove off, steps off the back of the mound, rubs the ball up, and now gets back up on it. Looks like there's some dew beginning to gather on the grass here this evening. That one's inside, and it's ball 4. He walks O'Donnell on 4 straight. And that will bring up John Conti, who came in to pinch run for Chris Conley. So, this is his first trip to the plate tonight, and a conversation between Antelek, Powell, and Pouchard coming in as well. Why not move the shortstop Luke Pedersen into the conversation? And Josh Maiman says, enough, fellas. Comes out, breaks it up. Looks like Connor Ryan is out there loosening in the Jammers bullpen. We'll see what Anthony Barone opts to do in the 9th inning to face Socrates. Colin Johnston has thrown 23 as we have it. No reason to not send him back out. First pitch is high and inside to Conti, ball 1, and suddenly Jason Antelek is having trouble with the strike zone. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 out and 2 on for the Jammers. Leading 5-3, top of the 9th, the pitch. At the knees, taken by Conti, and the count evens at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Left-handed reliever, Jason Antelek, with a 1-1 pitch. Bunted at by Conti, and it goes back to the home plate grandstand netting to make the count 1-2. Antelek on the season is 1-1. This is 6th appearance. He has started a couple of games prior to this, has gone 16 1/3, given up 16 hits and 8 runs. In the dirt, gets away from the catcher, Austin Powell. Both runners move up. Runners at 2nd and 3rd now. And a 2-2 count on Conti with 1 out. OD up at 2nd, Connor Rule at 3rd, and a 2-2 count on Conti. Infield in now all the way around. Jason Antelek with a 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, gets Conti for the 2nd out of the inning. Chris Estrada will step up now with runners at 2nd and 3rd and 2 out. Chris Estrada needs to get off the schneid here in this game. 0 for 3. He was hit by a pitch in the 8th. Needs to add some RBIs. He's got a chance to do it here. 2 out. Pitch at the knees, taken by Estrada, strike 1. There was a time there where it seemed like Maiman wasn't giving that low strike. He is again. As it is right around the knees. 0-1 the count. The pitch. Estrada grounds it down the 3rd baseline, fielded by Tyler Gelder, and throws to Pouchard to retire Estrada and the Jammers in their half of the 9th. No runs across for Jamestown. No hits. No errors for the Stallions, but 2 runners left on base. We'll see if the Jammers live to regret that here in the bottom half of the 9th inning. The score as we head to that bottom of the 9th, Jammers 5, Stallions 3.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. So, who's going to do what? Flashlights?
Nowhere to be found.
Where to be found? Batteries?
Dead.
Great. Emergency supply kits?
Not packed.
No. What about blankets?
We have an old towel.
Good enough. Cell phones?
May not work.
Emergency water?
Not a drop.
And what about food?
Nope.
Perfect. We all know where we're meeting if we're separated, yeah?
The library.
Aunt Joan's house. The bus stop.
Great. And I'll be waiting here wondering where you all are. Sounds like we don't have a plan. Who's up for mini golf?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. A public service announcement brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back for the Stallions half of the ninth, and Chris Conley said, I don't have anything better to do. I'm just waiting for the post-game meal. And Connor Rule was on base, so I'm going to give him a break and go out and catch the warm-up tosses from Colin Johnston. So leading things off for the Stallions in their half of the ninth, third baseman Tyler Kelder. Kelder reached on an error in the fourth, 0 for 3 in the night. Struck out swinging and popped out to Alex O'Donnell in shallow left in the seventh. First pitch, a swing and a miss, strike one. Johnston looking good. Ryan in the bullpen in case he needs some backup. 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike two. No balls and 2 strikes. Nick Teeter to follow, and then Pat LaGravenese, the second baseman. Scheduled batters for the Stallions in the bottom of the ninth. 0-2 pitch, foul tipped at the feet of catcher Connor Rule. Count remains 0-2. Good to see Johnston come out and get ahead of the first batter he's facing here in the bottom of the ninth. No balls, 2 strikes. Jammers up 5-3. The righty, Big Red on the hill. Swing and a miss, strike 3 and an off-speed pitch. Good-looking stuff from Colin Johnston. And there's one gone in the Stallions half of the ninth. Teeter and Kelder exchange notes as Kelder perhaps saw something in Johnston's delivery. We'll see. Did say something to Teeter on the way by as he headed up to the plate. Nick Teeter is 2 for 3. Singled back in the second, doubled in the seventh, cuts and misses, actually foul tipping it into the glove of Connor Rule for strike one. The throw back to Johnston. Over his head, Jimmy Standahar goes and gets it and gives it to Colin. No balls, 1 strike. 1 out, nobody aboard. 0-1 pitch on its way from Johnston. On the outside corner, strike 2 called. Teeter had that look to the sky like, why did I take that? Knowing that outside corner pitch always gets called, more for the most part, when near the strike zone. 0-2 pitch. Weakly grounded foul. And that bounces off of Whitaker's foot. Little pinball stuff. Estrada comes up with it and tosses it back into the Stallions dugout. Count still 0-2 on Nick Teeter. Colin Johnston has the sign from Connor Rule. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Blew it right by him. 2 up, 2 down via the strikeout. An impressive effort here by Colin Johnston, as Colin now has 2 complete. He's only thrown 31, 24 strikes, 7 balls. Big Red, the big righty on the hill with 2 out and nobody aboard, and his Jammers up 5-3. Colin's first pitch to LaGravenese misses low, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Patrick LaGravenese is 0 for 2. Sacrifice bunt for him back in the 7th. That was right down the pipe, and he didn't get the call. 2-0 the count. LaGravenese hit a fly ball out to Skylar Valentine, first out of the second, and then popped out to Estrada for the final out of the 4th. Ground ball, Jimmy Standahar over toward Ben Brookover. Fields throws, gets. Patrick LaGravenese, 3 up, 3 down go the Stallions. In their half of the ninth, no runs, hits, or errors, and nobody left on base. The final score tonight from Saugerties, New York, Jamestown Jammers 5 and the Saugerties